and four-time flag bearer of the People's National Convention, that's Dr. Edward Mahama, has beaten the 2012 presidential candidate Hassan Ayariga in the party's 7th National Delegates Conference in the Upper East region over the weekend. Now, Dr. Mahama won with a total number of votes of 492, which was just about 66, a total of 66 votes more than that of Hassan Ayariga. Now, and what we know for a fact is that the fortunes of the PNC has been dwindling since 1996, and it was even worse in 2012 when Hassan Ayariga polled a sorry 0.22%. We want to find out what the fortunes of the PNC would be going into 2016. We've been joined on the line by David Agbe. He's the Executive Director of the Ghana Institute of Governance and Security. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for your time.
Yeah, thank you very much, Martin.
Good. To start with, we know that in 96, Dr. Mahama polled 3.0% of the total votes cast. In 2000, he got 2.5%. In 2004, he got 1.9%. And when they changed baton and gave it to Hassan Ayariga, he even made it worse and got 0.22% in 2012. Really, do you think that bringing Dr. Mahama back would change the fortunes of the PNC going into 2016?
Yes, Martin, I think that the PNC, as far as Ghanaian political system is concerned, is actually suffering from so many factors. I mean, it is true that Dr. Edward Mahama, 2000, 2004, 2008, he was the flag bearer of the PNC, party. That you could realize clearly that there are a lot of things that the PNC is not doing right, politically. If you assess the PNC, you could realize that it is a collection of, nordness coming from all the three, northern regions, which is not good for a political party. You could simply describe, PNC as more like a northern people's party and modern political party management. You do not have to get people coming from one ethnic background. And if you do that, you continue to, weaken your party strength. As you speak now, all the people who have won executive position, they are all northerners, including their own flag bearer. So it gives you a certain level of impression that getting a certain reasonable percentage from other regions will be very difficult. And that is one of the critical things that the PNC is not looking at. And so if they are not able to position themselves nationally, their position will continue to dwindle. And that is what they need to look at the moment. But if you look at the presidential candidate, Dr. Edward Mahama is a very solid candidate, learned, a medical practitioner. He has everything that it takes politically. But we realize that, their political dispensation or the PNC has not positioned itself strategically. And that is why they are not, pushing or they are not, posing a threat as far as, our political system is.
But Mr. Agbe,
look at the NDC and look at the NPP.
Do you think that
national political party, they have all their, people coming from all the 10 regions, but PNC is only picking people from the Upper East, Upper West, and the Northern region, which does not, help their political trajectory.
How do you think they can better their fortunes with regard to the fact that the two major political parties seem to have defined Ghana and made us a two-party state?
Martin, I had it right. I think that what the PNC could do is to do what I would call a political national appeal, that they can get a certain reasonable percentage from all other regions. But that is what they are not doing. They need to rebrand themselves for people to see them as a national party rather than people coming from only the three northern regions. If they don't, plan strategically to get some appeal from, Western region and Greater Accra, Volta region, I mean, the seven, regional capitals, they need to appeal to the people to buy into their message. And so that is what is lacking now. If you look at the national leaders now, all of them are coming from the northern part.
The northern part, yes.
So that's not bringing some kind of, unity. certain semblance of, unity.
But Mr. Agbe, that will bring me to my next question, which is my final question as well. What do you think would be the possibilities of PNC merging with CPP? Because that was something they had been championing for some months now. Do you think it's still going to be possible now that the PNC has a flag bearer and has elected national executives?
Martin, I'm telling your voice is down. I wish you could raise up your voice a bit.
Sorry for that. I was asking if you think that the PNC-CPP merger is still possible.
I'm struggling with the question, but let me say that the national leaders, as we speak now, Bernard Moda is a very solid candidate. Who is the current national chairman. If you look at people like Bernard Mona, is a very solid person. I mean, he is also, well-learned person. And so he can also champion a certain level of trust for the PNC. But I think that it goes beyond Bernard Mona and then Dr. Edward Mahama. There are other, things that they need to do. They need to find a clear identity of the PNC. I mean, critically, political identity, having an identity and having a certain appeal across the country, that is what they need to do at this moment. But if they are not able to do that, I mean, their position will continue to threaten.
Right.
And so for now, they need to position themselves nationally so that their message, their political message, could win a certain reasonable percentage, for them. If not, they will continue to get all kinds of presidential candidates, and those presidential candidates will not be able to prove any magical move for them. So they need to go beyond their flag bearer and
I think,
for a national appeal.
Okay, thank you very much, David Agbe, for your time and your analysis. He's the Executive Director for the Ghana Institute of Governance and Security. My last question actually was about the possibility of a PNC-CPP merger, but I think that David could not hear us on that.